Christians make a big thing about the Bible, and they claim not just that it's interesting and inspiring and beautiful and helpful, but that it's actually true, and especially that it presents the truth of Jesus Christ, his life and teaching, his death, his resurrection. Christians are not interested in myths or fairy tales. Everything hangs on the belief that God entered our history, and if we can't know the truth about that history, then honestly, it's all a waste of time. Now you might be skeptical. Why should you trust the Bible? What if it's just Christian propaganda? What if it's fake news? I think these are good questions. So let me try to give you 4 reasons why I think we can trust the Bible, and especially that we can trust the historical accounts of Jesus that are given in the Gospels. The first reason, timing. Some people have the idea that the Gospels were written hundreds of years after the events they describe, as if it's some kind of game of Chinese whispers, when conversations and ideas are passed down a chain from generation to generation, getting more and more confused as it goes along. But it's simply not true. The Gospels were written just decades after the death of Jesus, not centuries. They are incredibly close to the events they describe. The Gospel of Mark was probably written only 35 years after the death of Jesus. It's like me telling you about things that happened in the 1980s. Okay, maybe you don't believe that I went to the Queen concert in 1982 at the Milton Keynes Bowl, but there were 80,000 people there, and I'm guessing that half of them are still alive today. And they would tell you exactly the same set list as I would if I sat down and talked to you and described what happened. When the earliest Christian texts were written, there were hundreds of people still alive, maybe thousands, who had lived through these events. You couldn't make things up because these people were still there. They would confirm or contradict them. This is not people talking about ancient history. This is living memory. The second reason I trust the Gospels is this: consistency. There is a fundamental consistency about the core events that took place, and especially about the life and teaching of Jesus. Of course, each Gospel has a slightly different focus. Imagine 4 newspapers reporting about the same event, or 4 siblings talking about their parents, but the central story is exactly the same. And the Gospels are consistent not just with each other, maybe you'd expect that, but with everything else we know from the period. With the Christian writings that circulated, with all the other evidence we have from non-Christian sources, and with the local geography, the art, the coinage, the inscriptions, the incredible discoveries that have been made in archaeology over the last 200 years, it only confirms the events of the Gospels. If you go to the Holy Land, you can actually see today many of the things that are described there. Everything just reinforces the idea that the Gospels are trustworthy historical documents that we can rely on to tell us the truth about Jesus and the truth about what happened. The third reason I trust the Gospels is because I trust the people who wrote them, the communities that passed them on, the church that treasured them. The first Christians had their lives turned upside down by their encounter with Jesus Christ, his life and teaching, his death and resurrection. They were desperate to tell the truth about what had happened. They were willing to die for it. They were simply not interested in making up stories. St. Luke says, "I need to tell you the truth about what has happened." St. John says, "I am testifying to the truth of what I know." Of course, we are seeing things through the eyes of Christian believers, but their passion to tell the truth, a truth that had changed their lives, that passion makes us believe it more and not less. The final reason I trust the Gospels is their credibility. You know, when you talk to someone and you just have a kind of intuition that you can trust them. Well, many people have felt this way reading the Gospels. If you read the Gospels, they just feel genuine, credible. There is an authenticity, a sense that they are trustworthy, that they're speaking to your heart, that there is a message here that is meant to be taken seriously. It's as if there is a bigger truth behind the individual words on the page. I trust the Bible partly because I trust the church. This is the community that wrote the Gospels and the other writings of the New Testament, that collected together the books of the Bible, that defended it, that passed it down through the centuries, that proclaims its message today. You can't have the Bible without the church. So I do believe there are good reasons to trust the Bible and to trust the core historical truth of the Gospels. But in the end, it will only be your experience of reading the Bible and of hearing that truth that will convince you.